yourself a better guitar player with the Doobie Brothers. Listen to the music. Songs in standard tuning, written in the key of E major. Pretty popular key, but a little bit difficult because a lot of the chording involves bar chording. What a bar chord is say I have an E chord like this. If I want to make this an F chord on guitar, I have to move everything up one note, right? In our case, in this song, it involves F sharp at some point. But taking the E chord, move it up 2 spaces, sounds easy, right? The problem is that when you move these 3 up, the open strings got left behind. So what a bar chord is when you got to free up a finger to take the place of those open strings that you have to move up. So this finger becomes bars across the strings to act like the nut did here. So you have the 2nd fret, 4th, 4th, 3rd, and then 2nd and 2nd down here. So this guy's responsible for 3 different strings, right? But once you can do this, you can play chords all over any major chord you want. You can play, you just put it at the right spot, and you play any major chord ever. And this same fingering put on the 5th string becomes any minor chord ever. It's based on the A minor chord, moving it up. And this one, the index finger has to play this string, has to play the skinny string, and also has to nudge the tip of it onto this big fat string. So if you accidentally strum it, no noise, right? So there's some cheats around bar chords, and I'll try to show you what those would be, that you can maybe do. Because bar chords can be really a pain, especially on acoustic guitar. It's kind of like, I don't know, the difference between riding a motorcycle and pedaling a bike. On an acoustic guitar, it can be higher. They fight you more. The strings are thicker. It's just a little more difficult to hack away on an acoustic guitar. So the intro to this, though, is the key of E, takes the 9th fret of the 5th string, and when you pluck the low E string and the 9th fret together, you're going to hammer your 3rd finger onto the 11th fret here. So like that. So when you do this, the right hand, it has a real grooving feel to it. I have discovered that the grooving feel has to come in your hand, always moving to the beat. Talk about listen to the music. You're feeling the music by moving your hand always to the beat. And then you get into a rhythmic groove that you can't break because your hand's always moving. So if you have to start and stop, that's when you won't have a steady rhythm, right? If I'm going... it's just really hard to get it if you're trying to go and stop and wait and go and go. But if my hand's always moving, so I can play just about anything and it almost fits because my hand's moving to the groove and it's all working, right? So with this one, hammer the 9th fret to the 11th fret. And when you hit that up pick, I do a down, fake down, and then an up. And you're hitting these 9th fret notes here. With the chord. So you have open E, 11th fret, and 9, 9, 9 with these guys. Now, thankfully, if you don't get all those in there, if you get 1 or 2 of them in there, it doesn't hack it up too bad. It sounds a little nicer with... you get a little more in there. If you get the skinny string, which I did there, it sounds a little off. So you don't want to get that far down the strings either. So it's a little bit of a feel thing. So if you mess around with that, that's the way you want to get it. Now with this guy, you're taking this finger and going to 9th fret, but expose that open A string. So you have open A string, 9, 9, 9, and you're going to hammer on the D string and the B string to both 11 and 10. This is a common 70s chord. I've talked about it in other lessons where you have a flattened finger and you're going in and out. Tons of songs have done this. It's a technique you really want to get down because you'll use it a lot in a lot of different songs. Folk music, 70s music, and beyond, right? Let me know if that rhythm works out for you, if I've explained that well enough. that you kind of get that rhythmic feel. If I break it down into, okay, down pick, hammer here, up pick this, it gets really complicated and it starts to make you push and pull instead of getting in the rhythmic flow, which is really where you want to be anyway. So it kind of defeats its purpose if you're getting too intricate with your down up picks, because it's not like that. You're just kind of just going and not stopping. If you find yourself stopping or hesitating, that's where you run into trouble. So when you're going to transition to the next part, you only do half of that. And go like that. Now you'll notice I did that. That stuff all happens when people need to have a little second to get to the next chord. So, and that next chord is a C sharp minor chord. Well, again, I was telling you A minor moved up to the 4th fret is a C sharp minor. Then they go down to the B, but it's not minor anymore, it's major, so it's 2, 4, 4, 4. I use my pinky, some people like the 3rd finger. It's kind of tricky because you got to get 3 strings there. You don't want the skinny one in there either, so it's really precise fingering there. And then you're on the A major chord. Now I would normally maybe do the A major chord like this, but it's harder to not get that skinny string in there when you do it with a flattened finger. So I'm doing it like this. And before it transitions back, it's going to pick up the middle finger and move the 3rd finger up a space. That is an A7, because you pulled this off, it makes it a 7, and this is a suspended. So A7 sus chord. It creates even extra tension of wanting to resolve back to the E. The A automatically wants to pull you back to the E chord to resolve it. The A7 and suspended make it even more tension to want it to go back to E. And then you get to that intro again, which is all based on the E. Now the chorus is just C sharp to A. You don't do the B. And then an F sharp to an A. Now, you notice that I was playing A here, and that part I played A here. It's the same notes. It's honestly, quite frankly, harder to play it here because you got the bar chord. I found a few things that I like to do to, I don't want to say cheat on this. Remember, a major chord and a minor chord, there are 3 notes in those chords. If I'm playing 6 strings, I'm doubling and tripling some of the notes here. Like when I play an A chord like this, I'm playing 3 A notes, 1 C sharp, and a couple of E's. So I don't need all those in there. You're kind of just playing them because you don't want to have a string sitting there, vacant or whatever. And the more strings, the merrier, the more bigger the sound and stuff. But you can kind of cheat on an A major chord, and that is to do it kind of like a C chord, but move your middle finger down a string towards the ground, so you have 5th fret, 6th fret, then put your pinky in at 7 and your ring finger at 7, drop your thumb across the fat string. Now I can play the A chord without doing a bar. It's still this part of it. I'm just taking this down to the 2nd string instead of doing all of them. Play the 2nd string and block the fat string with your thumb. And when you block the fat string with your thumb, chances are your index finger is going to block that skinny string. It's kind of hard to make the skinny string ring when you got to do such an angle. So when I do this, it's not as big, but it works, and I usually don't have trouble with it. So, and with this one, you can move it around. It's a movable chord as well. The root note of is where your pinky is. So this is an A here. It does an F sharp. That'd be down here at the 2nd fret. So maybe in the chorus you want to go. Doing as much of this really hardcore stuff. So if you're either a beginner or you don't want to, really fight this whole song, you can maybe do it like that. I've also at times played a C sharp minor chord like this. It's not quite the same, but yeah, it kind of doesn't work. It's just, I try to find ways to make these songs easier to play and more accessible to people. This is not a beginner level song. I mean, it's got that funky rhythm with the right hand, so that in itself I think is really tough. And that's where a lot of guitar players can fall short with their playing, is a good rhythm. I mean, Eddie Van Halen talked about this, that you got to be a great rhythm player to be a great lead player. You got to have a good feel for where the beat is. And people get so good at this that they can push the beat a little bit, play a little bit ahead of the beat at times, and play a little bit behind the beat at times. And it will really, it's subtle, but it's like people don't really realize it's there, but it makes the difference in making it sound either, it's correct, but for some reason it doesn't feel quite the same, to, oh my gosh, he's playing it exactly right. He or she is playing exactly right. Anyway, so mess around with it. As always, I welcome your feedback, your like, share, and subscribe, and all the things like that. Okay, take care.